Virgo, you might experience some difficulties in your personal relationships or some legal troubles. But when there's difficulties, it's a time to realign, reconsider things, and also seek some clarity. And that's my message to you this month. Hi, my name is Finn, and this is Magic 7 Tarot. And I have done a Magic 7 Tarot spread for your lunar return for Virgo, Sun, Moon, and Rising. And we're going to have a look at it, break it down here. Hope you're doing well. Uh, I do see some difficulties here, especially as it comes to relates to interpersonal relationships. Of course, if you're not in a relationship, this could be how you relate to other people generally, and of course, there's also always other interpretations. Whenever I'm doing a general reading, I try to take the message that's most prescient, most in my face, and break that down that way. Because if you are suffering through some relationship challenges right now, I want to be your friend. Uh, I will give some alternative possibilities here if that doesn't apply to you. Okay, let's have a look here. So in the past, this is the immediate past, we have the Eight of Coins. Now the Eight of Coins, and it's reversed. Of course, if you've been watching my channel, in Brotherhood of Light Tarot, reverse card does not mean bad or negative, just means a little more difficult to express. Okay, so the overall message for this is to be true to yourself. And with it reversed there, I'm going to suggest to you maybe you haven't been as true to yourself as you should be. So this could definitely indicate some kind of marital trouble or negotiation, like a divorce. And I hope that's not the case for you. But if it is, go in with a full heart, right? You have to get what you deserve, of course. Could indicate some travel, either for love or for money. And now, I say this because we had this card in the past, Eight of Coins. It does have to do literally with um, negotiations revolving around marriage. Okay, so this could or relationships. Marital trouble is generally how that's expressed, and so. But there is an opportunity here if you're not in a relationship, like that's in the past. So maybe you've already gone through that, and now there is some opportunity for a new love affair to emerge. Again, I wish I could do a personal reading for each and every one of you and fine tune it. I can't do that. So consider this the emotional weather report. So whether you've gone through some kind of marital litigation or negotiation, you had a breakup that wasn't very amicable, um, that is in the past. Okay, and and so uh, in the present we have the Five of Swords. I'm going to do past, present, future, and then we'll go into the more detailed cards, and we'll pull some oracle cards as well. I just wanted to touch on this one because this could Five of Swords, also reversed, could definitively represent like magically escaping from a terrible relationship. I hope that's your case. I mean, if you're in a terrible relationship, escape, escape. And this is your escape clause. I mean, you can do a disappearing act with this card. Um, it also has to do with struggles, right? And quarrels, especially as it relates to possessions. So if you are going through a divorce, you might be experiencing some quarrels about who gets what and so forth. Um, it allow so the challenge here for you today, Virgo, or in the present, is to overcome those limitations. And this is the energy to overcome limitations as well. Um, uh, you have to you have to discriminate, that which I want, that which I don't want. Now if that relates to possessions, of course, that's obvious, but sometimes it relates to emotional states. Listen, each one of these cards has a physical or material or a mundane interpretation, has an astral interpretation, like your astral body, and then a spiritual interpretation about, on the spiritual plane, what this represents. And so as above, so below is the Hermetic adage. And so, you can work through struggles in a spiritual way, right? And that would have some positive influence on the material plane, right? It's not just one or the other. Okay, so let's talk about it as if, it's less about divorce. Okay, so this could be traveling for love or money. Let's say you met someone online and you following up with a little visit, and now you're feeling good, but maybe this long distance thing isn't really for you. You're feeling that out. But in the present or in the future, we have a person. Okay, so now this could obviously represent part of you, or it could be a person in the external world. When I see this, this is not really connected to the other cards per se, a little connection. Um, I sort of think this is another person. Okay, so this is a sensitive feeling person, can be a bit moody, but definitely someone who's got a lot of depth. You know, Virgo being an earth sign can hold this water, right? So there's compatibility here. If this sounds like it's all over the place, really, I'm just trying to give interpretations based on what might be for you. The thing that I feel here is there's the end of some relationship, and that's a struggle in the present. You're sort of divvying up, uh, going through the strands of it. You know, whether that's the physical, you know, the actual practical things. I get the frying pan. You know, you get the spatula, kind of thing. You know, things that happen in breakups. Okay, but then I do feel like there's some kind of new. So this might have already occurred and you're still reeling from the moment of that happening. And now you have this chance to reinvent yourself with someone new. Certainly, there's uh, after you're through quarrels, having someone sensitive and emotional around you, or tapping into those feelings in your own life where you know you start to feel your real feelings. Sometimes when we're in a relationship and it's not going very well, we don't feel our own feelings anymore, right? We start to really like we're like a shell. And so this kind of feels like, you know, you've gone through that and now there's this opportunity to grow, right? Struggle is growth. Okay. It's not always a fun card, but it's not a terrible card either. You know, it's struggles, and struggles lead to breakthroughs, and it also represents this kind of overcoming something, right? Not readily, but with effort. Okay. Uh, in the fourth position, the energy you need to control, we have the two of coins upright. And so this is hard labor, effort, you know, getting money, but you got to work for it. Nothing falls in your lap here. Um, it, you know, it also, I get all these images and sometimes they all come at the same time. So just pardon me while I sort through them. This, this has to do with being just, you know, first to yourself and then to other people. It also has to do with your independence. Now, maybe, you know, you've gone through this situation where you've been restricted, and now there's a new situation that's making you feel independent. Okay, don't go crazy. Okay, keep your wits about you, right? Because this does represent, you know, some kind of new partnership. Okay, could be a business partnership as well. And sometimes, of course, people are in relationships; they're also in a business relationship, and that could be very complicated. I definitely see movement here through one old situation into a new situation. The new situation is more fortunate than the old situation in lots of respects. And, you know, through your own effort, struggle and effort aren't the same thing, right? You know, in the present, you might be struggling with this situation, trying to overcome the limitations that the past has presented with you, and now in the present, you know, through some kind of hard labor, you gain your independence. Independence is indicated, and some kind of breakthrough is also indicated, Virgo. So, you know, stick with it, okay? I mean, you're not the kind of person to not stick with it. You're going to stick with it. Oh, also, messages from above here. Mercury uh, went direct. So now, you know, as you're ruled by Mercury, you're going to feel a lot more like yourself, okay? That's going to start to emerge over the next few days. It stations and then it goes direct and then takes a few days to get moving in the right direction. It seemed like it was a prolonged Mercury retrograde. I think it was over 3 weeks, which is a long time. Okay. Whoever this person is, or if it's a part of yourself that feels deeply, um, this is a very positive influence in this reading, and I want you to be aware of someone coming into your life who's bringing good emotion to the situation, and welcome that into your world. Okay. Okay. um the environment. Okay, so this is what the environment provides. It's the Five of Cups reversed. I noticed that we have two fives here. Okay, so fives are Jupiter and Brotherhood of Light. Um, so it's hard, the thing about Jupiter, it can be overindulgent and can kind of go too far, but it's never really negative per se. It's very beneficent. So there are good feelings here. You just might have to like scratch the surface to get to them, especially your own feelings. Feels like you've been through a lot, and that's been hard for you. And I'm really sorry to hear that. But if I could offer you a bit of good news, is that when we grow, we're ready for something new, and that's what I'm starting to feel for you, is that this emerges into something new. Um, hmm, sorry, more images. Um, there's emotionality here, and when there's depth of emotion, you have a chance to really understand your own feelings. um I don't see this. You got to get your facts straight. Okay, no matter what happens here, you're going to start to understand what was going on in the past, how you were really being treated. Hopefully you're going to be treated a bit better now, and you're going to get it straight. Okay, you're not going to be under any illusions. And with this card here, this idea of domestic illusion. Okay, that your relationship isn't exactly what you believe it to be, and so that's going to reveal itself to you, leaving you with responsibility. This is also emotional responsibility. Maybe you're in charge of dealing with the whole thing. Okay. Sometimes it's one partner in a relationship that ends up holding the bag. Okay, and to me that feels like you right now, like you're holding on to this, uh, for better or for worse, in sickness and in health. Okay, it's tricky for you, and you're struggling with it, and you're putting in the hard work. The great news is that that hard work benefits you even if the relationship has to end. I mean, this is that idea of the magically escaping something that doesn't work, and I like that idea for you. That doesn't make it happy necessarily. Okay. Okay, make sure that you're not sacrificing who you are for this situation or for a person. Okay, keep your identity straight here, along with your facts. Just the facts, man. Okay. Okay. What opposes you is the Ace of Swords. Ace of Swords is negative thinking, depression. Okay. Feeling pretty bad about yourself. Okay. It also is just effort. Okay. And so uh, don't feel bad. Just put in the work, right? The work is indicated in all of these. These cards are work. This card is work. Okay. So there's work to be done, and it's responsibility, right? Emotional responsibility. And you have to take charge of it. No one else is going to do that. Or you feel compelled to take charge of it because that's how you roll, Virgo, which doesn't surprise me at all. Okay. This is Mercury, but it's also Capricorn and Saturn. So it relates to business, and it relates to, like the difficult parts, the parts you don't like doing. I would say, if this is me, this is the accounting part, right? Like the part I would just rather not have to do, but you got to do it if you're in business. And, there's some accounting in relationships as well. Okay. The final outcome as it stands here, and then we're going to pull some other cards. And I'm going to go through these threads a little differently and just try to give different interpretations for everyone, because not everyone's in a relationship, not everyone's having difficulty in the relationship. Again, a general reading is just that general, but everyone's got these energies to deal with. Okay, Virgo? No matter what your situation, keep your thoughts positive. Don't worry about the struggle. Okay, the struggle and the hard work, those things are indicated. Okay, so don't feel like you could definitely with this energy feel put out, Like, why me? If you're feeling that way, why you? Because this is the moment that you need to learn this lesson. That doesn't make it better. I'm not trying to sugarcoat it for you, okay? Hard lessons are hard, no matter how you slice it. And I believe there's hard lessons here. Doesn't mean it's all negative, but it's hard, right? Compared to sitting at the beach, this is going to be real work. So, how does it end? In this reading is the Six of Cups reversed. So, this could be a new love affair. It also can be the end of a love affair, right? Um, but to me, what this sort of suggests is that the end had already happened. You're cleaning up the pieces. Something new comes in. Meanwhile, you're working hard, and it's a struggle. Okay, um, and you're clear about how you feel and how you're being treated. So to me, this starts to become about something new, a new way of relating, a new emotional relationship. Okay, with someone who can feel. Okay, it can be temptation. Okay, so let's say, for argument's sake, that this is related to a marriage that's staying. You're staying together, although it's been difficult. Okay, and so you're in the struggle now. You break through with some kind of new person, and that new person represents, wow, that person's so much more who I want to be or who I want to be with, and that's a bit of a temptation for you. Okay, the heart wants what the heart wants. I'm not telling you to do one thing or another. What I'm going to caution you is that no matter which direction you decide to take, there's still the work, effort, responsibility. Those things aren't going away. So sometimes we get involved, we think, oh, this person's going to solve all of my problems and everything's going to be great. That's 100% not going to happen. If you're thinking that, get those thoughts out of your head. Okay? There's no way you're getting away from the work here. Okay? The work is what's indicated more than anything. Now, can you get into a better situation? 100%. Can you, build something with these cards, with this energy that will be closer to who you want to become? Absolutely. Can you have a bit of fun doing it? Sure. I mean, if this is, let's say you met someone online and you traveled to meet them, and gee, that's a struggle for you, but this person really has some emotional depth. Uh, so, you know, uh, maybe you don't want to leap too quickly into a new relationship. Although, all the way through this, there is relationships indicated, which is why I focused on it. I focus on the hardest thing, you know, uh, if you met someone online and you're just bummed out because you don't get to see the person all the time, that's not really the same as getting a divorce and having to divvy up all the goods. Okay. So I'm going to always try to focus on the most difficult or the most opportune situation, because those are the people who I want to help. You know, it, Even if things are going well, it's hard work and struggle, right? All of those things remain, but it's different if you've had some separation. That's going to feel harder. This also could be that you sort of switch horses midstream and the person doesn't have the same feelings for you. Okay, so try to be clear about what you want and what you need. Try to be clear about your feelings and the other person's feelings. The more you can apply clarity and get away from fantasy. Fantasy is definitively an enemy of this reading. Okay, um, that doesn't mean you can't aspire to some other better situation. I want you to aspire to a better situation. It feels to me like you're moving towards a better situation. I just don't want you to believe that someone else is going to solve it for you. Okay, because that's 100% not what I see. What I see is work and effort and an emotional upheaval of some kind. And maybe that's just redefining your goals or your needs. But it's not simple. Okay, Virgo? All right. let's pull a couple of other cards and see what clarity we can get. I do a wild unknown archetype card, and that will give you, sort of an archetype that you could drop in and follow. It's more general and deep, but when we're looking at past, present, future, what opposes you, and there's characters involved here. Um, Sometimes all of those details can become kind of diffuse. So I like to focus it down to an archetype. So, Eternal Spirit, what archetype can we offer to Virgo this month to help them in their journey? I wrote a little poem here for you too. I'll read that. It came to me when I do these readings ahead of time so I can consider them. Let me just shuffle the cards and cut them. Focus. Eternal Spirit, what archetype can we give to Virgo, Sun, Moon, and Rising that will give them guidance in the month ahead? I desire to know the truth. What's best for them? Spirit, what is best for Virgo, the world, and the universe? I desire to know the truth for Virgo. Anyway, let me just finish. Desire to know the truth. Good. As I was reading it, this kind of saying came into my head, so I wrote it down for you, and I'll read that to you when we finish up here. Okay, what card do we get? The thread. So this is about holding on to the thing that you really believe in about yourself. Okay? It's going deep and finding that part of yourself that you can really, hold on to. I mean, I often think of this in relation to Ariadne and the labyrinth in Greek mythology, and not getting lost. But if you also think about that thread, that part of you, it always, in a narrative thread, like a story, there's always a part that goes all the way through. Okay, that's you. That's yourself. That's who you are. Okay, well, let's read this and have a look and see how that might relate to these cards. And just off the top of my head, the thing that comes to me is that idea that you're going to hold on to the thing through thick and thin here. The thing, that you believe about yourself. Hold on to yourself. Life is a tangle. So much happens simultaneously and circuitously, leaving us grappling for meaning and direction in a network of distractions. When we connect to the energy of the thread, however, we strike the deepest vein in the body. Our whole being responds to its tug, meaning is pumped through our bloodstream. Our mind and spirits are lifted. We remember who we are and what we came into this world to do. There it is, eh? Right? Magically escaping from a difficult situation, holding on to the thread of who you are. So important. Though this happens on the most profound level, it could be the simplest incident that activates the thread. A song, an image, a conversation heard in passing. No matter how confusing and multi-layered our modern lives become, if you are connected to the thread, if we are connected to the thread, we are free, being tethered to it as the only anchor our heart requires. Okay, so it's that meaning within the chaos. It's the quiet place. Another way I think about it is the Buddha. We just touch the earth and be here now. Okay, that's a really great card. Okay, let's give you some inspiration, Virgo, for this month ahead. Eternal Spirit, what inspiration can we give to Virgo, Sun, Moon, and Rising to help them in the challenges ahead? I desire to know the truth. If you're enjoying this reading and it resonates with you, I'd love to hear from you. If it doesn't resonate with you, I'd love to hear that too. It helps me fine-tune my online readings. Desire to know the truth, inspiration for Virgo. Like, I'm curious who this dude is. I sort of think it's a male. Emotional, can be a bit moody, very sensitive. Okay, inspiration for Virgo. Desire to know the truth. And if you like what I'm doing, if you subscribe and like and comment, that really helps the channel. I'm doing some general content as well that aren't sign specific, so you can check those out, including how to know the difference between your sun, moon, and rising. Okay, if you're not sure what that all means, have a look at the video on that. Okay, 2, 3. Okay, inspiration for Virgo, desire to know the truth. Huh. Pleasure. So, throughout all this, like I said, I try to like focus on the difficult things, but pleasure, romance, love affair, deep emotional connections, right? Uh, uh, so find the thing that gives you pleasure, because that's going to be the clue to who you are and what you need to do this month. Okay. So obviously having fights with your spouse or partner, those things aren't going to be very pleasurable. So what is it that gives you pleasure, Virgo? I'm going to read this too. Savor your life, each and every part of it, including the hard parts, right? There's some satisfaction with getting over obstacles and overcoming them, right? Don't need to be bummed out about that, right? You should be proud of it. You're working hard. You're working hard, Virgo. Okay? Give yourself some credit. Don't be so self-critical, right? Don't be self-critical. Take pleasure in slowing down and experiencing each of your senses. Taste your food with full gusto. Inhale the sense of the world around you. Enjoy the colors and textures of your life. This is truly a stop and smell the roses card. Embrace your sensuality. I hope you have some sensual moments, especially because I feel like you've been through something. If you're finding something that's really pleasurable, who am I to say don't? I just say be careful. Make sure you're clear about everyone's intentions. Embrace, move in a languid way. Let pleasure be your password into every intimate part of your life. Allow your life to be less about being productive. All these work cards, right? And maybe you're just off balance. That's another way to phrase this, that you're putting so much energy into outward things, you're not paying enough attention to the inward things. Allow your life to be less about being productive and more about enjoying each moment with verve, and a radiant energy will flow through you in all directions of your life. There's no bad tarot reading, and we have bad days, and there's no bad energy. Sometimes we have difficult energy, and sometimes we have energy that is easy. Okay. And so, getting some satisfaction out of overcoming obstacles is a great way to connect to the positive aspects of difficult things. Okay. Okay. I wrote this down this morning. When the world feels chaotic and the heart is heavy, return to your truth. Peace is your protection, and let integrity carry you through. Virgo, it's a challenging reading, but at the same time, there's this opportunity to magically escape from a situation that you're not enjoying. Okay? There's a lot of deep emotions here, so be aware of how you feel, and make sure that that this is all about pleasure, your pleasure, and not the pleasure of someone else's. I hope that there's some new exciting love affair on the horizon for you, and that the difficulties that you've experienced in the past uh, are overstated from my point of view. Okay, and it really comes down to being true to yourself. And if you know how you feel, you're never gonna make a wrong turn. All right, Virgo. Virgo, I'm going to check in with you in a couple of weeks. We'll do a mid-month reading. Let me know how it's going. Thanks for joining me today. Peace.